Hey, welcome back to another episode of the She's Making an Impact podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Ngom, and today we're doing a Q&A episode. I'm so excited to answer your questions. I sent an email. If you're not on my email list, just go to the blog, shesmakinganimpact.com, get my free Pinterest cheat sheet, and then you'll get all my emails. But I sent out an email asking if you had a question that you wanted me to answer on the podcast. And a lot of you had questions. So I'm not going to be able to answer them all in today's episode, but we might break it up and do another one in the future. So I'm really excited to jump into these. Just a quick reminder, if you've been a listener of the She's Making an Impact podcast and you love the show, would you do me a favor and go to iTunes and rate and review the show? It's going to help us reach more people and make a bigger impact. I read every single review, and it really does mean the world to me to know that you are actually listening, because sometimes when you do a podcast, you feel like, am I talking to myself? Is anyone out there? Do they hear me? So go rate and review the show, and I would really appreciate it. All right, let's dive in. Welcome to the She's Making an Impact podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Ngom. I'm an entrepreneur, mom, adventure lover, and creator of Pin with Purpose, the Impact Blogging Academy, and Activate. I went from food stamps and negative $400 in my checking account to a multiple six-figure online business. This is your show to learn from me and other rockstar entrepreneurs how to monetize your passion and live out your purpose. If you're ready to increase your income while making a massive impact on the world, this is the show for you. I'm so pumped you're here. Let's get started. So our first question is from Kim David from ProjectStellaResources.com. And she's helping parents and educators find meaning, service, opportunities for young volunteers to transform their homes, schools, and communities with kids who radiate outrageous compassion and kindness. Her question: what are the top 3 things a beginning entrepreneur should invest in to maximize their efforts? Oh, I love this question. I would say for sure personal development. Your business will only grow as much as you grow, and your personal development is key. Your income follows your personal growth. So I would say personal development, that could be reading a book, that could be buying a course, that could be attending an event. When I first started, it was literally reading 10 pages a day. That's what I did. And then as I started getting more into personal development, I was like, okay, now I'm going to attend an event. And then all these other things started to happen the more I invested in my own personal growth. So that would be the first thing. Second thing would be a coach. And I don't think I'll ever have a business and not have a coach, just because you don't know what you don't know. And we all have blind spots. And especially as you're just getting started, you need guidance and you need support. And as you're doing stuff, you need somebody that you can bounce ideas off of or ask questions, or they can say, ooh, this is a great idea. Or, oh, I tried that and that was terrible, or it didn't work. It's just going to help you get where you want to go about 1,000,000 times faster. I do coach entrepreneurs, and right now I actually have 2 spots open. So you can just head to the blog, shesmakinganimpact.com, if you want to apply to see if we'd be a good fit to work together. The last thing, there's other things, but the other thing I would say you should invest in would be a virtual assistant. Just because your time is so valuable. It is so valuable. And a lot of times when you're first getting started, you're doing all the things and you're not doing many of those things very well. So if you're not super techie, you need to have someone help you with like your website or setting up your email list, or just little things that might take you 1.5 years to figure out, that a virtual assistant for $5 might be able to do it in a minute. So I think if you definitely a virtual assistant. I've had my guy, Richard, from the Philippines. He was, I hired him from Upwork.com for $6 an hour for 10 hours a week. And that's what I first started with. It has been very much worth it. I've since upgraded and gotten other people to help our team grow, but he was the first person that I had help me with just little tasks or little things that I couldn't do on my own, or I just didn't want to try to figure out on my own. So to answer your question, a coach, a virtual assistant, and personal development would be what I would invest in as a new entrepreneur. Next question is, my name is Ashley. I'm a student in your Creating Killer Content course, which I loved. The recent posts I did using your spreadsheet and strategy are getting way more traction than any of my others that have been up for months. Yay, I love that. My healthy cooking blog, brightrootskitchen.com, has officially been up for a year this month. Congratulations. Her question, how do I niche down to draw in my ideal clients without being too narrow? Let me tell you something, Ashley. It's hard to be too narrow, and healthy cooking is still really, really broad. So I would like you to think, can you niche down to here's just a few examples. Maybe creating healthy meals in less than 15 minutes, or maybe it's cooking Whole30 or vegan or kid friendly or keto, or, there's like a million different things that you could do, but healthy cooking is very broad. The niches are in the riches. I have an entire blog post on how to pick out your niche market, so you can check that out. But I would definitely suggest niching down even further. Next question is from Sandy Meal. She's a personal stylist at sandymeal.com. She says, I'm a student in your Pin with Purpose course, and I loved the webinar you ran last summer when you talked about Pin with Purpose, and I first signed up. I have my own online style course, Simplified Style, and I'm looking into webinars as a way to market the course in the upcoming months. Where did you learn to run such a killer webinar? What's your strategy? And do you have your own course or training on running a webinar? Thank you for your consideration. Oh, good question. Webinars are like one of my favorite things to do. I absolutely adore them. It's so fun because I adore podcasting for sure, but I love getting like real-time feedback, which you can get on a webinar and just chatting with my audience. I love it. So to answer your question, I've invested a lot in my personal growth. So I've learned through Amy Porterfield's course, Webinars That Convert. My own coach helped me with my webinar. And I also took James Wedmore's course, Business by Design. I teach running a webinar in depth inside the Impact Blogging Academy of you actually get my webinar slides, and step by step, I walk you through what I do, why I do it, registration, all that stuff. But just brief strategy for your question. I do a live webinar every 2 weeks. And I do that until I'm happy with the conversion rate. And you need to know your numbers. And the numbers that you would be tracking is, okay, we have an opt-in page for people to sign up for the webinar. How many people that actually saw that opt-in page signed up? And so if you're doing a webinar and you only have 15% of people who see the opt-in page sign up, that's not enough. You want to get it. Ours converts at 50%, 60%. So get it over 50. And then we look at, okay, how many people that actually signed up attended the webinar live? And because you might have done this before, you signed up for a webinar and then you forgot about it. So you can create an email series to let people know, give them some sense of urgency of why they need to be on that webinar live with you. And a good show up ratio would be about 30%. So 30% of people that opt in would actually be on there live with you. And then when you are on that live webinar, ideally, altogether, 10% of people that are on live with you will buy. But if you're looking at overall numbers of how many people actually registered to how many people bought, ideally it's close to 5%. And then once we are happy with that conversion rate of how many people were, we look at all those numbers. So if the opt-in page isn't converting at that number, we tweak that. If not enough people are showing up live on the webinar, we look at that email series and say, can we tweak this? If the webinar itself isn't converting, we look at what's going on there. If not enough people are paying in full and everyone's doing payment plans, then we look at, could we do a pay in full bonus? So there's a lot of different things that we look at. And once we're happy with that webinar, we turn it evergreen, which means it's running all the time and people can register for it. So we do that every 2 weeks. So I would do a webinar and then I would look at, okay, what do I need to change? Because the first time you do it, you're probably going to suck and there's going to be a lot of things you'd be like, oh, I need to do this differently, or oh, I really need to tweak this, or what was I supposed to say in that slide? Like what? I don't even know what I meant by that. So you're going to have those moments, especially as you're first starting out. So you practice and you practice and you practice and you'll get better every time you do it. I still have work to do. But I do that every 2 weeks until I'm happy with the conversion rate. Then I turn it evergreen. So long answer to your question, but webinars are so fun and they're such a great way to get more revenue into your business and help a lot more people. So yes, webinars are my jam. And again, we dive in deep inside of that inside the Impact Blogging Academy. Next question. This is from Kara James. She says, I'm 23 years old and I run an online health coaching business called Live Undone, and it's liveundone.com. I've been starting to use Pinterest and Tailwind to generate traffic. And although I have over 500,000 monthly viewers and 25,000 engaged, I'm still not seeing any leads or sales. Am I missing something, or do I just need to be more patient? Okay, my answer to you would be maybe. Monthly viewers really don't mean a whole lot. It's not going to... Monthly viewers doesn't tell you how many people actually come to your website, how many people opt in. So I would like to look at your traffic. So what does your traffic look like? And then making sure, are you using keywords in your pin description? That is going to be essential. I was going to say key, but key for keywords. That's going to be essential to make sure that people actually find you, because Pinterest is a search engine. So you want to make sure you're using a specific long tail keyword. So it would be just like a phrase. So for you with health coaching, I'll just give an example of what I've used is intermittent fasting for women. So I did, that was a long tail keyword that I used in one of my pins that still drives insane traffic to my website. So using a keyword in the pin description, and then making sure that pin description also includes a call to action. So are you telling people that they should click through and read more? So you want to make sure that pin description, it's conversational. You're using that keyword. You're telling them to click through, and it's kind of like a juicy description where they're like, ooh, I want to learn more. And then look at the pin itself. Are you giving them all the information that they need in that pin? Is the pin something that's going to make people stop their scroll? So you need to have what I call a scroll stopping pin. So think about, most people are on Pinterest on their phone. It needs to be something that's big and bold. It has like a bold color and big, bold text on it that's going to get them to actually stop. And then get interested by the pin description and click through. And then finally look at, is your website optimized for Pinterest traffic? So I actually stalked your blog a little bit. I was curious. And when I was on your blog, I didn't see a place to opt in right away to get on your email list. And I saw a bunch of places where I could buy something from you, but not get on your email list. And it takes, they say, up to 7 touches or more for someone to actually purchase something from you. So I wouldn't try to sell to cold traffic, especially cold traffic that's coming from Pinterest. I would make the main goal of your blog to get them on your email list. And so make sure that your blog is optimized, that you have within the header of your blog, have a place for them to sign up to get on your email list. Talk about it within the blog post, have a pop-up on your blog. There's so many different places that you can include an opt-in, but I would make that the main focus, and you're going to see a huge difference. I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to pop in here briefly to talk to you about my free Pinterest masterclass. So Pinterest is kind of my jam, right? I've used Pinterest to get over 20,000 leads into my business for free, and increase my site traffic by over 34,000. So I want to teach you how to do this. So jump on my free Pinterest training. Just go to freepinterestclass.com and I'll teach you how you can double your leads and sales using this freaking awesome platform and automate the process at the same time. So go to freepinterestclass.com and I'll see you there. Okay, next question. We are cruising right along. There's so many. Okay, I think we only have a few left. So next one is from Jennifer Pear, and she said, my business is called Organized Owl. So I help people with goal setting, productivity, and organization. My website is organizedowl.com. For the moment, it's just a landing page where you can find my main product, which is a day planner called the Life Book that incorporates goal planning and helps you organize all areas of your life. My question, how do you figure out how to price your online course? I have an online course and I'm working on another one. I'm just not sure how to price them. Okay, this one is, there's a lot of different things that you want to consider. So first, what's the value of it? So what's the transformation that that person is going to experience. And so a lot of times people think, well, it has like 50 videos in it, so I can charge this much. And it really doesn't matter how long it's going to take someone to go through it. In fact, people tell me they love my courses because they're short and I really get straight to the point. There's not a lot of fluff. It's literally, I give you exactly what you need so you can take massive action. So here's an example. What if I spent $25,000 to be a part of a mastermind and I learned this strategy and I told you that this one strategy is going to increase your income by an extra $100,000 this year or something like that. And you'd have to pay me $1,000 to get that one strategy. Would it be worth it? Of course. So think about what's the value of it. And then you can also do a competitor analysis just to see what's out there. So what are other people's price points for something that's similar? And so I did this when I was getting ready to launch Pin with Purpose, and I saw there was a bunch of different price points. I definitely knew I didn't want to be the cheapest because I knew the kind of person that I wanted to attract, and the people who are like bargain hunting, looking for the cheapest thing, they're not my people. I want people who want to get the ultimate transformation, and they're going to invest in something to get that transformation. So you can do a competitor analysis, but just know you don't want to be the cheapest. That's not going to help you get the most sales. And then also think about, have you calculated your hourly rate? So how much of your personal time is it going to take for you to actually create it, put it together? You want to make sure it's worth your time and effort. So I see a lot of people that want to create a membership site and charge like $10 a month. And then it's taking them like 100 hours a month and they have 10 people in there. So is that worth it? No. So you want to make sure that it's really worth your time and effort. So a lot of things to think about when you're pricing it, but I always think it is important to price it right. And you can always up the price too. And so what I did with Pin with Purpose is I first launched it at $147 for my beta launch, and then I upped it to $197 and then $297. Now it's $397. And I got more comfortable upping it as I saw more people getting that transformation. And I knew that it was worth more with how much value that we provide in that course. Okay, next question. This comes from Geneva Stewart. She's an independent Sensi consultant. She says, my question is, how does one grow, train, and maintain a strong team? And she's in network marketing with Sensi. So not only in the US, but across the globe. And so if you're new here, my background is in network marketing. I started my network marketing company back in 2011. Yes. No, 2010. One of those. And we reached the top 0.01% of the company. And I'm happy I was in network marketing for sure. I learned so much, especially about leadership. So the thing that you need to focus on is growing your own leadership and then growing other leaders. So focus on building really strong relationships and do fun stuff that is outside of your business to grow those relationships. So something that we did was like a happy hour Zoom. And so we did weekly trainings and stuff like that, but then we just did fun stuff where I'm like, all right, grab a glass of wine, let's meet on Zoom and let's just get to know each other a little bit more. We hosted live events. So I did live events for my leaders. They had to earn it to be on there, but then I brought in a John Maxwell coach to help train them. Speaking of John Maxwell books are going to be amazing for you. We actually worked with John Maxwell for a year and I attended one of his events. And something that he teaches is I do it, you watch, we do it together, you do it, I watch, you do it and teach it to someone else. And that is gold in network marketing, but also as you start to develop another, for this business, as we're starting a Pinterest agency now, and I'm thinking I need to train my people right. I'm going to be using this exact same process to make sure they're doing it correctly. And I don't need to be as involved in it. And I can train other leaders within our organization. So I'll repeat that again so you can take notes because you're a note taker, right? So it's I do it, you watch, we do it, you do it, I watch, you do it and teach someone else. So John Maxwell has a million different books that you could read. I think that my favorite, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, and let's see, what's the other one? Something 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. That would be another one. So I would pick up those 2 books. Definitely focus on leadership and building a relationship. Okay. We have a few more. We're almost done, I swear. So this one comes from Shelly Betts, and she says, I'm still working through lots of blogs and advice, but would like to ask 2 things, please. First, about pinning other people's content. What's the benefit of my little company of doing this? How do I choose what to pin? What sort of board should I put it on, i.e. another person's idea inspiration board, or incorporate it to one of my existing boards? I'll answer this before I get to the other question. So why you would pin other people's content is because of Pinterest's logarithm, the smart feed. And I recommend pinning your stuff and other people's stuff in the beginning because most of the time you don't have enough content to pin consistently. So what I would suggest you do is have a board that's just for your blog posts. And then the other boards that you have can serve your ideal client. And you want them to make sure that they're searchable. So we're using keywords in that board title. And then with boards, you can have 10 or more that add value to your ideal client. And I would suggest, again, having the title of it and in the board description using keywords. So an example of keywords would be Pinterest marketing tips. This is something that someone would come to Pinterest and they would actually search for that. Or branding tips for entrepreneurs. And I want you to remember, we want to use those keywords so people can find you. And you don't want to do something where it's just things I love or kids, because that's not going to help you reach more people. Okay, second question is about using pins more than once. For example, I have a pin for each blog post, but it could go on a board for blogs or for toddlers or parenting tips. Is it okay to pin all 3, or is that not a thing? Yes, you can pin it to all 3. What I would do is pin it to the most relevant board first, and then you can actually use Tailwind to group boards together. And so you can create like a little board category. And so if they're all kind of relevant, what I would do is I pin it. And it's hard explaining this without actually showing you because it's so visual, right? You would actually pin it, and then you can select within Tailwind like 5 boards that you grouped together. And then it's easy peasy, and you can actually space out the pinning of it and have it automated. So I would select maybe 5 relevant boards to pin it to. And then I would say, okay, space it out so it pins 1 per day. And then it's totally automated. Okay. This last question not the last one, almost last one. Samantha Darby, how to consistently get new clients. I have a small group of lovely local girls who buy everything I create, but this number is very low. How do I build it? You need to get some visibility. And I would start by asking those loyal customers for referrals. Maybe you offer like some kind of reward. It could be an Amazon gift card or whatever it is that you're offering. So if it were me, I would offer maybe like a private one-on-one session or something like that, some kind of bonus to incentivize them to give that referral. You can pitch to get on podcasts. So look at what podcasts are in your niche and pitch to get on that podcast. If you want, I can do an episode on pitching to get on podcasts. So let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in. Just tag me on Instagram and shoot me a DM. But I would pitch to get on relevant podcasts and then create content that adds value. So think about what your ideal person needs and create content around that. And it's going to start attracting your ideal client to you. Another thing that is awesome is hosting a free challenge. So we do 5-day challenges every quarter and it's just awesome. People get so excited. We're able to add so much value to our people in 5 days. We have one coming up in March, by the way, so get ready. And everything grows exponentially when we do a challenge. And then last tip for you would be just to stay consistent. So many people do this for a couple weeks or a couple months and they say, ooh, it's not working. And they give up and it takes time. I've been an entrepreneur for 8 years now in the online space. I guess I've only been an entrepreneur in the online space, and it does not happen overnight. You see people that seem like an overnight success, but trust me, there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears behind the scenes. There was a lot of them creating content that got crickets, and nobody saw it. Just be patient and stay consistent and do these things, and you will see growth. Okay, last question comes from Nancy Cran, and she says, my business is a naturally based hair product line called Monet. And so that's network marketing. My question is, since I already have a business website, which comes with her company, why is it important to create my own personal website with a blog separate from that? And how do I start it? Ooh, good question. So within network marketing, it's so important that you brand yourself instead of your company. People are going to want to work with you and buy the products that you offer and join your team because of who you are, not because you're a rep for this specific company. So it's really important that you find a way to add value to your ideal client. So I'll give an example of what I did within my network marketing company. It was in the health and fitness space. And I completely started to brand myself pretty early on. I mean, let's get it straight. I sucked the first year and I was like posting all of my products and all that stuff and my links and everything. And luckily I invested in my own personal growth and learned that's a big no-no. And I just focused on branding myself and created my own website and created content. It was still health related, but it didn't mention my company at all. So a lot of people didn't even know I was a distributor for that company, but I was able to build a lot of trust with my audience through creating that content and build my email list. And then we did free challenges and other things where people were able to, purchase our products, or I was able to build a relationship with my audience through private message or through doing challenges or other things. I was hosting webinars and that kind of stuff. It's kind of coming full circle now. But by doing that, I was able to build a relationship with my ideal client just through being myself and by adding value. And so if you're like, all right, I need to learn how to do this, I have a blog post on how to start a blog. And so I'll link that in the show notes so you can grab that. But if you want to have success in network marketing, just remember, with anything, people will want to do business with you and join you because of who you are, not because of what company it is or what you sell. Super key. Write that down. It's very, very important. Okay, I'm going to cut it off for today. I still have a bazillion questions to get through, but I'll do another Q&A episode sometime in the future. If you found this helpful, shoot me a message on Instagram and let me know. If you have a question that you want me to answer, again, shoot me a DM or send us an email, clientcare@rachelandngom.com. And if you haven't yet been to the blog and grabbed some of our freebies, like my free Pinterest cheat sheet, make sure to head to shesmakinganimpact.com and grab that. I'll teach you how to get more leads into your business for free using Pinterest. All right, that's it for now. I'll talk to you later.
Please go to iTunes and give my mommy a 5-star review. Thank you. Yes!